clothed in silence so long she doesn't know the sound of her own voice, her infinite beauty. She's half notes, scattered, without rhythm, no tune. Sing her side.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Lovecraft Country podcast by The Verdict's In. I'm your host, Nicole.
I'm Gary.
And today we're talking about Lovecraft Country, episode 5, entitled Strange Case. And strange case it was indeed.
Yes, it was.
Gary, what are your overall thoughts?
This was an amazing episode. Scary as all out. And I don't understand. I don't know why I just think these episodes are scary, or some things in it just creep me out. Give me the heebie-jeebies, like the eyeball in the mouth.
Yeah.
But the craziest part of this episode, which is also funny, is that it didn't take her no time to turn into Karen.
Nope. None.
No
whatsoever.
She
whatsoever.
Karen instantly.
But it's always like that. Like, we talk about how people, when they get a little bit of power, someone becomes a manager or whatever. Next thing you know, that doing this and doing that. I admit I've been a Karen before in my past. When I got a little promotion, I had a little bit of power, to be able to tell people, okay, time to go on your break or this and that. And boy, oh boy, I turned into a Karen in no time.
Oh, you abused it.
Yeah, I abused it. I was young. I abused it. And, I eventually lost that gig. They actually tried to demote me. And I was like, you can't demote me. I quit. I don't even remember what happened. But I believe I did get demoted. And it was because I was a Karen.
So she just abused the only currency she needed.
Yep, the only currency she needed, the only currency she had, and it took her no time to fall in line and use that privilege and abuse that privilege.
And it was a privilege, but what's so crazy about it is that they don't see the flaws in that privilege. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by flaws is, like she said, this is the only currency I had, but when the police came to get her, she was still property of someone.
Right. She has privilege over everybody else, the people of color. But then the bottom line is there's still someone always at the top, and she's not at the top.
Yeah, she was still property.
Right.
Like the police taking her back. Like, yeah, you got to go back to your husband. He was looking for you. And she's like, hold up, that's not my husband.
Yeah, don't take me back there.
Don't take me back there. And a crazy story about this, or maybe it's, and this is a movie I see.
I know what I think you know what you're talking about.
Not, personally, but similar situations where the husband's beating on the wife and the police is staying out of it. Like, well, that's your husband, ma'am. Like, almost like saying that's your owner, that's your master. So we're not going to get involved in this. And it still happens to this day in a lot of places in the United States and across the world. It's not just the United States, but it is sad with all the privilege that you have, you really have none.
Right.
You may not get mistreated, police in your neighborhood that don't really belong in your neighborhood because they're not a part of your community. So you're not getting that harassment, but you're still somebody's property at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I think that's what White Ruby realized at the end, and that's why she did what she did to her manager, and we'll get into that, is because in the end, yes, as much privilege she has, she does have more rights and more power than Ruby, but at the same time, you're you're about to start doing the same thing that you didn't want happening to you when you're your regular Ruby self. And that's the thing they always kind of talk about when people are, not try to get off subject too long, but when people are talking about people who cheat the system, people who are on welfare, people who are getting income, food stamps and using it for steak and ribs, and it's like, who gives a fuck? This is pennies on the dollar compared to the rich 1% or 0.1% who are getting billions of tax breaks and everything else. And that's what everyone keeps talking about when they're saying you're looking on the wrong end. So why White Ruby start looking at this Tamara and the wrong for having only a 7th grade education. Ask yourself why she only has a 7th grade education. Ask yourself why this is probably the best she will get, because she only has a 7th grade education. And rather than looking at it as looking at the system as a problem, White Ruby turned it and looked at Tamara as the problem. Like, how the fuck does she deserve this job? when
Right.
it's not Tamara's problem that she only has a 7th grade education. Something went wrong if you only have up to a 7th grade education.
Something went wrong.
And it wasn't
definitely.
up to a 12-year-old to stop school at 7th grade.
Right. And she didn't give herself that job.
Right. She didn't get herself that job.
She was given that job.
Right. So this show has been doing such a good job, but it's in so many ways it makes me angry because as at this point it's supposed to be in the 1950s, and so many things you see, there's still many problems, these same problems today.
It still happens.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into it. We see, as we were just mentioning, Ruby wakes up. She's a white woman. She's confused. She goes back, of course, to her city that she knows, her town, her neighborhood. And the black people, everyone's just kind of staring at her like, Miss, are you okay? What's wrong? You know?
Do you need help? Are
Do you
you
need
lost?
help? Yeah.
Like,
just,
you're on the wrong side of town.
just being super, super nice to her. And nothing wrong with that. I mean, I always say, yes, help someone who's in need. But I will say sometimes... Because, well, okay, let me say this next part. The boy that she bumps into, and then the police come and start treating him badly and slam this little boy down, a child, and everyone just standing around. And it's up to White Ruby to actually say, no, he was helping me. And I feel like that type of stuff still happens. Like, sometimes I feel, and I believe Red Table Talk had an episode on it a few months back, but sometimes I feel like we will jump up and down for a white person, and then we can see a black person in need and not say a word, or see somebody getting hurt and not say a word and just mind our business. And I'm not saying don't help white person. Of course, everyone's human. Everyone deserves help. But it's just sometimes it hurts when I see our own brothers and sisters. Like, if I'm standing in line, I can be at a store and they say there's 2 black people and they work there and they're just talking to each other and taking their sweet time to help me. But as soon as a white person stands in line, they stop talking, they get to work. Yes, sir, miss, how can I help you? I'm like, what the fuck?
I've seen it happen before.
It hurts more because you already know the injustice that we get from other people outside our race, but it even hurts anymore when it's our own people that treat us so bad.
And in this case, they weren't treating them bad. They just didn't they didn't do what we expected them to do, or what we would have done in that situation.
Right. They were just standing, and then
you
I
have to
get
understand
it.
that the times also.
Right.
Like there was people with their kids out there, and nobody wanted to be the next victim.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if they spoke up, the officer might have cussed them out, pushed them to the ground. I get it. I'm not saying be a hero, because not everyone's meant to be a hero, but that just reminded me of so many times where I feel like, come on, do better. Treat each other. Treat everyone fair. That's the thing. Treat everyone fair, but at the same time, don't treat your own wrong.
And she said the people weren't scared of me. It seemed like they were scared for me.
Right.
We got to protect her at all costs.
Right. Because a white woman get hurt here. Oh, hell no. I mean, you hear about that. If a white person gets killed by the police, oh, shit, you're going to hear about it quickly. They're going to find, the police is going to get in jail fast. But if a black person gets hurt, trying to make everything about color, but this is just where the conversation is right now.
Well, this is where the show is right now. And this is where the world is right now.
Yeah.
So we got to make it about what it is. But moving on. Yeah,
but moving on, she goes back to William's house, or is taken back to William's house, where,
she was kidnapped
by the police. And, her body's all changing and everything like that. And William pretty much we see him shed her skin, and you see that it's Ruby underneath that. So, were you surprised that she was able to transform, or did you think when she woke up white that he changed her permanently to white?
I thought it was gonna be a permanent change.
That's what I thought too.
I'm like, damn, would Nettie recognize her?
Yeah, Letty.
Letty.
Will she get? Will she ever be able to go back to her town and see her people?
Will she be able to go back to her, or live back in her house?
Right.
I mean, Letty, they believe in magic. But it's going to take a lot of convincing. And especially Letty's seen this woman before.
Yes. Because the lady that she wakes up to, I'm glad you mentioned this, Gary, we kept saying, she looks familiar. And then we realized, wait, that's the lady that was guarding the tower that they found Montrose in.
Yeah.
Back in Arum. So, and we saw that she died, right? Because Letty hit her over the head and knocked her out. And then didn't the animals attack her? I mean, she's dead.
She's dead.
Yeah. So
there's no way she should be here.
Right. Which I have a theory on that.
What's the theory?
Well, my theory is later on, of course, when we find out who William really is, And based on what Christina told Ruby about how they threw William beat him up.
Well, shot him in the back.
Shot him in the back and then threw him in the river.
Yeah.
I'm assuming William died. And maybe you only can transform into people who have died.
Right.
Which makes me believe we're going to see Uncle George again. And we're going to see Christina's daddy again.
But what about Letty? If you think about it, Letty's died. So do you think that's still her?
Good question. Yes, that's still her, because we saw her dead. We saw her dead body come back to life. So it's not like she was dead off screen and then all of a sudden reappeared and was like, I made it. And, then I would be like, yes, suspicious. But yeah, we saw her dead body come back to life right in front of us. So I think that is Letty.
We shall see.
We shall see. Not anything's possible in this show, though. All right, so Tic and Letti, they're happy, they're excited. It's the next day. They want to talk to Hema. They want to try to teach her how to speak or see what they can get out of her. And
they try to decode the letter.
Right. And then they find Montrose alone, and he's like, yeah, Letty believes that Montrose let Hema go. Because Letty's looking out the window. Maybe we can catch up to her, and and then Tic is like, well, what about the letters? And Montrose is like, got rid of those. And Tic beat Montrose ass like he was a stranger off the street.
He gave him a well-deserved ass whooping.
But see, that's the thing with ass whippings, because even Letty says, like, if I wasn't there, would you have stopped? Like, you would have killed him. And that's the thing with ass whippings. Whenever I see these fight videos, I'm like, I can't even watch them, because I'm like, one wrong hit, you can literally kill someone. And if he would have killed his dad, I know his dad has done him wrong, but like, would he be able to live with himself?
But that's the crazy part about family. Because, like two brothers will fight to death.
Yep.
They will fight to the death for real. So it's crazier that, within your own family, but I guess it's so much more built up because you know this person.
Right. And if someone that did you wrong, it hurts even more because it's not a stranger.
And like I said, it's a lot of stuff built up. Like,
right.
Oh, yeah, well, when I was this age, he snatched the head off my G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
At this age, he lied on me, got me in trouble, punishment for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Just all that.
You're not just
up.
Fighting over that, whatever happened in that moment. You're fighting over years and years of shit.
Years of fights.
Yeah.
And like he said, his father used to beat him. And he always thought about, man, I'm going to kill this guy one day.
Yeah, when I'm old enough, when I'm big enough, I'm going to kill him. Well, luckily they were able to break that up. So we'll see Montrose later in the episode. But now
when they broke it up, we realized he had a short man complex.
You're like, let me go. I'm like, that little guy. Because nothing wrong with Tic, but he's not like a big, huge dude.
But you don't really realize that, or I didn't realize that till the guys broke it up.
Yeah.
They kind of just lift him up with a little arm, and he was just so mad about it.
But no, his muscles.
Put me down.
He has some big muscles, and you know what? Shout out to him, Jonathan Myers, I believe is his full name. He was just announced to be going to be part of the MCU.
Oh, that's big.
That's really, really big, and I'm just so happy for him because I had never seen him before until we watched the movie Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Where Nicole was dying laughing.
I hated that movie. I was laughing at parts that no one was laughing at. I'm like, this isn't supposed to be funny. And it was like not even a crowded theater. There was enough people though that where I started laughing and I was the only one laughing. It got kind of awkward.
I'm like, why is she
laughing? It got awkward, so I had to stifle my laugh. But I thought it was supposed to be funny. But anyhow, I had never seen him before until that movie, and then on this show. But I'm glad to see. I love to see people's their progression into their career,
Yeah. And you know what's so funny? That part was deep.
That part was funny. If you guys, the part we're talking about, if you've seen the movie Last Black Man in San Francisco, it's when they're in the house and they're giving a play or whatever.
He gives the play, yeah.
And does he put on a mask or something?
It was two-sided.
Yeah, it was like a two-sided. I could laugh again.
He was made up on one side one way as a street guy.
Yeah.
And the other side, yeah, so it was two-sided.
I thought that was supposed to be funny. I was dying at that part. But, sometimes, who knows? Maybe I was laughing because I was uncomfortable. Who knows? I'll have to watch the movie again. I have not watched it since that time we seen it in theaters. But, yeah.
I think I watched it 2 more times.
Yeah? I haven't seen it since.
I love that movie.
All right, so back now, Ruby's back in her own body, and William, he's talking to her like, nigga, shit happened. He's like discussing his research, saying they kind of laughed him out of the academic world until he met Hiram, who knew how to open up different doors. And he explains that like the portion mimics metamorphosis, but it does wear off over time. And that's when Ruby kind of describes her experience as a white woman and how, like we said, like people were scared for her, and that transformation was hard, and he's like, it'll get easier over time, and she's like, no, I don't want to ever do that again. But William's like, well, I gotta go. He leaves money and another potion on the dresser for her. So as soon as you saw that, before we get to next scene, which is pretty much Ruby as the white woman enjoying her perfect day, did you know she was going to go ahead and
definitely
use it? Yeah,
just by the conversation. I think that's the part when he said you need to not unwind, but what was the word he used?
I don't know. I know he told her don't fight it because it's harder when you fight the transformation back.
No. When he was saying I can't even think of the word that he was using at the time, where he was telling her just be free. But it was a word he was using. Like, just open up your mind and just go out there and be something.
Okay.
But from the conversation that they had, I knew she was going to go back to the white lady.
Yeah.
Especially because she wanted a job at the store.
Well, this is before she even gets a job at the store, because the next scene is her just having the perfect day, getting her ice cream. No, ma'am, no need to pay for it. Reading a newspaper on a bench. No one's sitting there harassing her, asking her why she's sitting on this fucking bench. And the reason I'm getting mad again, why you reading that? I'm getting mad again because that literally happens. Literally, you can't get coffee without getting harassed. You can't sit on a bench without getting harassed. And like these small little things that I feel, not all, but some white people take for granted.
Fit the description.
All these things that they take for granted, we see that like she's able to do just everyday little stuff. Eat an ice cream cone, read a newspaper, just walk in the park.
Yeah, something like a big deal.
Yeah.
It is a big deal.
A stress-free fucking day she had, and that's all anyone wants.
I remember when I was younger, walking from school, 2 cops put me over. And, I knew this cop was trying to be funny. He had a female partner, and she was giggling the whole time that he was talking to me. And he stopped me. He said, where you coming from? I said, I'm coming from school. He said, are you sure you're not coming from a neighborhood? Because somebody reported, a kid climbing in trees. I was like, what? I said, no, sir. I just came from school. I have my book bag right here. And, she's sitting there kind of smirking, laughing and shit. Mm-hmm. Like it's funny. But, that's the type of shit that cops do to black people. Mm-hmm. Minding their own business.
Minding their own business.
And, I got home. Because I was mad the whole ride. I'm like climbing in trees. This motherfucker calling me a monkey. Yep. You know what I'm saying? But that's definitely what he was doing.
Yep.
So, that's the type of shit they do. And, by her getting to sit there, walk around, and just get a peace of mind, like especially when she stopped at the little walk light, the cross light, she stopped. And the officer was like, nah, come on, miss.
Right.
The rules are not the same.
They're not. It's a totally different world. And she's in the same city, but to her, it's a different world. She's living in a different world.
2 blocks over.
Yeah. So Letty finally goes and talks to Tic, after he's calmed down. And he says, yeah, he has imagined killing his father so many times after getting beaten by as a kid. But he's like, I never thought I had that violence in me. I didn't learn it really until I went to the military. But he says to Letty, like, because he knew when Letty, remember, confronted him earlier, she had that bat and she was shaking. And he said, I don't want you to fear me. Like, I don't want you to be scared of me. And they hook up. And it was like a very tender, loving. I thought it was sweet. It's sweet. I like the whole scene.
I was thinking, this is some bullshit right here.
Why?
All that game that Tic had. So you guys would know when to throw it on, when to throw the game off. He was like, oh, man, it's time for me to be vulnerable. It's time to be vulnerable.
Hold her hand.
Let me hold her hand. Let me tell her a sad ass story.
Tell her a sad ass story. I was gonna say, tell her about
let me let a single teardrop.
Right.
Can't be too many. She think I'm soft. Gotta be the perfect amount of tears. Yeah, he played her.
Well,
you know what that's called?
What?
She gave him the pity pee.
The pity pee.
The pity pee.
We talked about the pity pee in other podcasts before.
That was she gave him.
Yeah.
And he didn't care.
Nope.
As long as he got it.
All right, well, Ruby is back in her rightful skin, and she's on cloud nine. She's taking a bath in William's nice little mansion, and he comes, starts scrubbing her back, and says, she's like, I know you didn't do all this from nothing, so what is it that you want? I know I'm not special or anything like that. But he says some sweet words. He's like, I never felt magic in a place that there was none until I saw you. So I thought that was sweet. And sometimes I feel that people, which I think why they played the poem when they did, which was from an excerpt from Color Girls. You guys should have heard it at the beginning of the podcast. And it's because I think sometimes little girls, especially maybe some little black and brown girls, she's saying nothing special about me. And it's like, something special about you. You're a good singer. You're a good sister.
Right.
They're like, everyone thinks they're just normal, but there's something special about everybody, and you need to be able to see what's truly unique and special about yourself and believe in yourself.
Right.
And William obviously saw it in her. So he says, yes, I'm going to need a favor when the time comes, and it's just a small favor. And then he asked her, why didn't you use the money? Like, I put money on there, and it was a whole bunch of money she could have started a new life with. And she's like, because I didn't need it. The only thing I needed was my only currency I needed was my whiteness.
That's it.
Yep. Nothing else.
And yeah, that whole conversation was bomb, for real.
Yeah.
I mean, because we do, determine our value, or let other people value us.
Yeah. So like when they use the word, oh, they're a nobody. Like when they're talking about like different celebrities, and then it's like, oh, that's a nobody. It's like, why would you call somebody a nobody?
Right. What does that mean?
You don't have to be famous to be somebody. You don't have to be well known to be someone, or rich to be someone. Everybody's someone. Someone literally gave birth to you. And while you were in their stomach for 9 months, you were not a nobody. Trust me.
But that's how people value people. And maybe they value people like that because that's how they value themselves.
I was just about to say that.
Like, hold up. This person is like me. This person is a nobody.
Yeah. Well, of course she does what she's always wanted to do, and this is when we finally see her go to the department store. She has a great resume, so I don't know if all those things she had on her resume were the things that Ruby herself did, because it sounded like, she took typing classes. She might not put the place that she took the actual typing classes.
I think this is everything.
Yeah, I think her resume was true. And she immediately is offered not just a regular employee, but an assistant manager.
Just like that.
Yep, just like that. The same day, no second, third, fourth interview, just like that. But she has to hurry up and skedaddle because she's about to transform back. So she has to hurry up and leave.
So at this point, I'm thinking, is this thing timed? Like, after I drink this, do I have a certain amount of, 1 hour, maybe 2 hours? Or is it based off emotions? Like when you get excited or something happens, you just turn.
I'm thinking it's timed. Because he says it does wear off, and we seen him, have sex as William. We seen, Christina as William have sex with Letty. I mean, there's too many
But the reason I'm
characters.
asking is it time because it always catch her off guard.
Well, remember, she was about to take the potion again when she was like, oh, shoot, gotta go. But then she left it. It fell out of her purse.
Well, that's because she was changing already.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't pre-take it. Like,
right before the interview.
It's going on 2 hours. Let me take it right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think she's still new with it, and maybe she doesn't realize when she needs to take it. See, she was about to take it when William picked her up. So she's getting used to it. I think at first she just didn't realize, how often she needs to take it.
Well, I'm thinking that something could trigger emotion because we seen when she started changing the first time is when she looked at herself in the mirror when the cops grabbed her.
Right.
And, she was just excited, that excitement, not happy excitement, but, that anxious anxiety type excitement, and that's when she changed the first time. The second time, is when she got the job. The third time is when she was mad how they were talking at the little bar on the south side.
Right.
Is it south side of Chicago?
Yeah.
It was south side. Yeah, about the bar on the south side. So, every time she started to change, it just seemed like it's triggered by a feeling she's having.
Yeah, you might be right. You might be onto something. It may be a little bit of both, emotions and time. So hopefully we'll learn a little bit more. Well, going back to Montrose, whose face is all beat up from the beatdown that Tic gave him.
That beat down.
That beat down. And his face is all messed up. He goes to see Sammy, and it looks like Seymour was telling the truth to Tic about, Montrose, what he likes. And he hooks up with Sammy, and it was not it was a very different hookup than Tic had with Letty. Like this one, I wouldn't say that there was no emotions. There clearly was some type of emotion, but it was very hard and rough, and there was no kissing or anything involved, no tenderness. But it was
no tenderness.
But at the same time, there was a need. Like, you felt like he needed this right now, right in this moment.
I just thought that he just got beat up real bad, so he needed to take his frustration out.
Yeah.
Because it looks more like, oh, I'm taking my frustration out on you right now. This is a person that I usually hook up with.
Right. I mean, it was something. I would say it was different than how it is when they normally hook up.
No, but you're absolutely right. I'm saying that was my initial thought, that he was frustrated. But you're right, because it seems like they never really, and we find out later that they never really had that kiss.
Right.
Or that, I guess, tenderness to their relationship. That emotional connection. It was just basically a need. But Seymour have too much time on his hand.
Yeah, he does.
Like, if you able to see everything, like see who go where, who goes in this house, who leaves this, you know, Seymour has a lot of time on his hand. Like when he said he sent Tic back there because he knew what the guy was doing.
Yeah.
So why you send me back there if you knew what he was doing? Why you wait for him to? I mean, what difference would that have made?
Seymour has no life, because remember, he was the same one lying on saying that he hooked up with Letty, and we knew he hadn't. So.
Oh, he haven't?
No, remember? That's why when Letty was like something, he's like, I'm like a tree. And Letty's like, well, wouldn't I have already known that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right, so Ruby, she's back. White Ruby, I call her. She's back, and she goes and she questions Tamara's qualification. She's like, well, you know what? They can't take nothing away from you. They can't take your education away from you or whatever. And Tamara's like, well, it's only a 7th grade education. And that's when Ruby's like, wait a minute. You didn't take classes here? And Tamara's like, I didn't even know that was a thing. And to me, this is showing that Ruby, she could be, I mean, I know this was a dream job of hers, but she knows a lot. And maybe she needs to use her knowledge to help other people.
Right.
She knows all these resources that people can be getting, such as Tamara, where they can get other jobs and they can, better themselves. So.
Well, who's to say that, and when you say better yourself, Tamara has the same job that Ruby would have had with those qualifications. So you can't really say that she has to do that to better herself, because she probably feel good about herself right now.
And she does, and she has a right to. What I mean is by better yourself is say this is the job she applied for because this is the only job she thought she can get. Same with Ruby. This may be Ruby's dream job because this is the only job she feels she can get. It may not really be a dream of hers, even though it seemed like she was, because she knew all the things of the work at a department store. But what I mean by better yourself is saying, hey, you can, if you want to learn how to type, you can learn how to type. If you want to if you want to go into this, there's an avenue for this. And this is what I mean by like just getting yourself in a position to go after whatever dream it is that you want. So if the department store is their dream, let it be. But what if they want to do telecommunication? What if they want to do something else? I'm saying that Ruby may be the person that can actually say, hey, these are the resources to get this, what you want.
I get what you're saying, but I think I just don't like the better yourself.
Right. Yeah.
Like this person, they do that so they can better themselves.
Yeah.
Like who are we to judge
what's better
what's
and
better
everything
for them?
like that? Yeah. I hope I didn't mean it that way. Definitely didn't, but.
Man, you college girls are all the same. Think you're just so much better.
Not at all.
You just look down on her like Ruby did.
Nope, not at all. All right, so back in the storage unit.
Hold up, before we move on.
Uh-huh.
So why do you think she got the job?
Who, Tamara?
Yeah.
I think in a way she got it because, well, it's a few reasons I'm thinking. In a way, she probably got it because she was the only black person that applied at the time. And they were like, Paul mentions later on, the manager says, hey, our department store just went to not all white anymore. So maybe she was the first black person that applied. Remember, she said she applied on a whim.
Okay.
So they probably just hired her. It also could be the fact that they saw that she didn't have that much education and was like, she's not going to talk back. She won't have to move her up. We won't have to do any of this stuff because she only has this level of degree. So she's not going to be able to move up anyways.
And do you think appearance had anything to do with it?
And well, originally when we first saw her, and I don't know if I brought it on the podcast, that was my first thought. I'm like, okay, she's skinny, she's pretty, and maybe that's because when Ruby looked at her wrong, like, what, you applied on a whim? That's where I thought Ruby was getting out of it. But then later on, Ruby's like, I should have applied, and I was like, oh, it's not that she got the job over Ruby, it's that Ruby never had applied. But that was my first thought, was like Ruby thought she got it because she was just like a pretty girl.
And I think that probably all of the above has something to do with it. But I think looks probably have more to do with it than anything.
Yeah.
Because she's obviously an attractive woman. And if you're forced, as he's saying, that, they went to, they're not only all white. If you're forced to do that, then you're going to get somebody that, or I'm thinking that they're going to get somebody that, hey, she's nice looking. I can look at her. People feel comfortable around her. Because there's nothing aggressive about her.
Right.
It's not aggressive about her looks. Now, you don't know, what would have happened if, you get on her bad side.
Yeah.
But, from first appearance, there's nothing aggressive about her.
Yeah. And yeah, you're probably right. Looks was probably the main reason. And that's a thing that still happens to this day. We see a lot of people that are not qualified for certain jobs or whatever, and you're like, oh, they got it because their looks, or they get by, which is not just stereotyping. I saw an article. No,
people are not qualified.
No, I mean
they're going to better themselves again.
No, not saying you can't be qualified if you're attractive, but there was an article I was reading the other day where it was saying that people who have good looks, who are what society deems as beautiful, do have it easier in life. They get maybe some free stuff. They get, oh, you can cut me in line. They get, oh yeah, a job, blah blah blah. Like, so it's not just a stereotype that like pretty people get more. It's a fact that pretty. I mean, what's the term trophy wife? Some women know they're pretty. They can get a rich guy just off their looks.
Okay.
All right. So next in the storage unit at the department store, though all the ladies are talking, blah blah blah. And that's when you start to see the Karenism come out in this white Ruby. She's talking and they're like, well, she's like, yeah, well, and they're like, what do you think? Hopefully no more Tamaras come in. And Ruby says, well, I don't mind as long as they're qualified. Tamara's not. And then they were like, so thinking, and she's thinking she's above Tamara in this case, right? Tamara's not. But then the white woman says, well, duh, they're Negro, so of course they're unqualified. Which brings white Ruby back down. Like, bitch, it doesn't matter how many classes you take. Right. They're going to look at you as unqualified.
They're going to see her as being on the same level as Tamara, the 7th grade education.
Right.
No matter how much more education or how much she thinks she bettered herself.
Right.
Her high school education, her classes at the community center. What was it? The Frederick Douglass Community Center?
And I mean, and that's why affirmative action is so important. And I know there's a lot of people that talk bad about affirmative action, like, well, people should get it off their qualifications. And it's like, duh. But the fact that racism exists so much, people don't get it. So we have to have these programs in place, making sure. So it's crazy when people talk about, like, even at my job now with everything that's going on, they're talking about more diversity in this and making sure they're being more diverse with the hiring. And some lady had the nerves to be like, well, I'm good about the diversity, but I just want to make sure that, we're also we're getting qualified people. Bitch, you weren't saying that when Jilly and Sue got the job. You were, how do we know you're qualified? But like I said, the moment you talk about inclusion, people all of a sudden want to talk about qualifications all of a sudden, when they know for years and years, Tom, Dick, and Harry have been getting their friends a job that are not qualified. We can look at our governing cabinet right now and see all the people that are there that are not qualified. And then all of a sudden, when you start talking about inclusion and affirmative action and bringing more diverse, people start talking about qualifications. And we're going to go on qualifications. Let's really look at people's qualifications.
Let's have a resume party.
Yes, let's have a resume party. Let's look at stuff. And then the fact that sometimes people are qualified. Let's take our former president, Barack Obama. They'll still somehow try to nitpick stuff and try to tear that down. Oh, you got your degree from Harvard? Well, I don't know if it's really legitimate. Right. And like bullshit like that. It doesn't matter if you're qualified or not qualified. They're going to have a problem with it. Always.
Yeah, it's a real thing. It's real. When you talk about inclusion, and I've been on both sides of the spectrum. I've been on the side where I'm like, man, this guy's not even as qualified as I am for this. Mm-hmm. And then I've been on the side where somebody was talking about everything they had. I'm like, God damn.
Right. Yeah.
I'm underqualified for this.
Yeah, and I've seen it too. I mean, when, especially if you're going after a new job or something, you're looking at the qualifications. You're like, well, shit, I don't have all the qualifications, but I got some. Let me work with you.
I have this one right here.
I have this one right here. I don't have all of them. And,
2 out of 10.
So, like, I hate when people all of a sudden they only talk about qualifications. I'm not gonna say only, but they especially talk about it when it's a person of color, or especially when it's a woman. They make you got to be super qualified all of a sudden.
And you know what? If people forget about another big one, ageism.
Oh yeah, yep. If you're old, well, sometimes it can work in your favor. Sometimes it can't.
Right.
If you're older, sometimes they're like, okay, well, they have the knowledge. They've been doing it for a long ass time.
And sometimes they say they're too old.
They're too old. They can't be able to keep up with the technology.
And when you're young, they may say, oh, they don't have any life experiences.
Yeah. They're not going to be responsible enough.
Right. Or they can say, hey, we need you to have more energy.
Yep. You can keep going. You can work all hours.
Ageism is a big thing. It is a huge society factor also.
Yeah, it is. A few other things that they talk about here, though, is one, White Ruby asks, has Paul ever gotten fresh with him? And they all kind of laugh it off and say no. And I did wonder why she was asking. I don't know if it's because when Paul hugged her when they first came in, when she first went to her interview, she's like, oh, we're like family. Or if she wanted to just make sure Paul was a good guy.
Well, Paul got fresh with her twice. The long hug, and then he came out and kissed her hand.
Oh, okay.
That was kind of creepy.
Yeah. And they mentioned asking Tamara to take him to the South Side, go and party with the Negroes.
I don't know if I see anything wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with that if you just want to go party.
Yeah.
But I do see something wrong with that if you're talking about to go see like the zoo or a wild animal show.
Well, to me, that's
all
how
that
they made
bullshit.
it sound.
No, yeah, that's definitely how they did.
Yeah.
I mean, but they could have been doing that just to put on a show for the person next to them.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you say stuff to put on a show for that person because you don't know how they feel about it, but it's clearly obvious that they want some black D.
Yeah, oh, they definitely want some black D.
Once they got in there, they want the D.
They want to try to laugh it off, but they want that D. They definitely did. And not only that, like, when they were asking White Ruby, they were like, well, oh, you seem so comfortable with Tamara, have you ever been to the South Side? And she's like, yeah, I've been there. And they're like, well, how do you put up with all those? And then White Ruby was like, people, but that's not what she was about to say.
Right.
She was about to say some real racist shit. She was.
Well, she didn't say how you put up with them. She said, and you weren't scared around.
Oh, yeah, being all those, and then, yeah. Well, we see when Tamara leaves work. I don't know if you saw when they were all leaving work at the same time. I'm like, is the department store closed like at 5:00? But maybe that's how it was. But they were all leaving work, and Tamara, her face changes immediately. Like, smile, 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 leaving work, bye. But the moment she turns that corner and is like really out of there, it drops. And the energy and everything else that she probably has to put on that face, she has to put on every day being around those people, not just being around people that are completely different from her, but being around that animosity, that,
Well, the problem is, and I don't know if you heard her say that, she's doing everybody's job.
Oh, yeah, because they were all in there. She's like, sorry, I was at the table. This person in the dressing room, Yeah,
she had to clean the dressing room for this person.
Yep.
She had to go do this for this person. So she's basically doing everybody's job.
Because they were in the back having a good time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my.
And when they were in the back having a good time, I thought maybe all of those were supervisors or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But they weren't.
Yeah.
The only person that was a supervisor or an assistant manager
was Ruby, White Ruby.
White Ruby. And instead of telling her, like, if you had to, well, you know what? I'm not going to say that.
What?
Because I'm about to say, if you had a job with a whole bunch of black people, you like, oh, it's time to get back to work. It's time to do this. But how black people, we break too.
Yeah, we break.
We get on break like, come on, Black Ruby. 5 more minutes.
But I do feel like this type of thing, that's what made the emotions come out so much for me in this episode, because so much of this, it might have a different look. It might not be exactly the same, but this type of shit still happens, They'll fire 5 people and then hire 2 people to replace the 5 people. And then if you ain't doing a good job, they'll be like, well, so-and-so used to, so-and-so had so-and-so, so-and-so, so. There was 5 of them, not 2 of them. And it's just unfair. And it's not just all about colorism. It's just unfair as far as like how employers treat their employees or how they don't value them. Because even White Ruby, she was going up to Tamara saying, like, you need to fix your shoes, you need to do this, and why aren't you at the table, and da-da-da. And when Tamara tells her, oh, well, I was doing this and this and this, she's going to go, oh, well, let me get on that. It's more excuses, you know?
Yeah, I don't think she was getting on her for the reasons that, and I'm talking about not being at her station. I mean, like, when she said it was she was getting on her because she felt like Tamara was a reflection of her.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we got to be much more or much better than they are in order to keep, which still, that's still the same today. Mm-hmm. That we just got to be so much better at that job. But that's what you were saying, because she felt like, whatever Tamara do is a reflection on me and all the black people everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I never felt that way, that what somebody do is a reflection of me.
Right.
You know, especially when somebody do something negative. Because anytime something negative happen, and you see it even in the workplace, something negative happen on the news, everybody come in quiet the next day, don't want to talk.
Right.
You know, especially like if it was a white person, white people don't want to talk about it. If it was a black person, the white people want to talk, but the black people don't want to talk about it. And, me, I don't care. You know, what you do, like when somebody do this, I don't say, oh, man, we got to stop doing this when it's negative.
Right.
I just say, oh, man, he should do better.
Right.
Now, if somebody do something positive, then it's we all day. Like, you see we land on the moon now.
Right.
you see where we at, brother.
Yeah.
See what we doing now, sister. But that's how I am. If it's positive, it's we all day. It's negative, they tripping. That person is tripping right there.
Well, William picks Ruby up, and all the ladies thinks he's cute, and blah, blah, blah. And he says it's time for the favor, and she'll need to be a maid, which Ruby was not down for. And at the event that she's being the maid for, it's like the police unions and stuff like that. And Christine tells Ruby, hey, I need you to hide something in the captain's office, that this lodge belongs to William, and the police shot him in the back and threw him in the river, but William survived with her help. And with Ruby's help, he will have his revenge. And that was, to me, the forecasting or foreshadowing that at this point now that, with her help, William survived. So William did not really survive, but in a way he survives because she's able to be William.
William is dead, and he survived through her. And that takes us back to the beginning when they were at the lodge. Mm-hmm. When I think it was it Tig that asked for they together?
Yeah.
And he said, we're friends that sometime get together.
Yeah.
It was something like that.
Yeah.
Which I wonder, were they in a relationship before? Like, is this why she's trying to take revenge? Is it for her, or is it really for William?
For her, maybe her lover.
Maybe for her lover, yeah. Right.
Well, Ruby sneaks into the captain's office, and before she's able to put the rock down or whatever, but she hears him coming in, so she hides into the closet, and that's where he's keeping that prisoner that we heard a few weeks ago. And that prisoner is like gross and like throwing up, it's all chained. His neck is brown.
Right.
And when the captain changes his shirt, his chest, like his whole chest is brown.
His chest, arms, around his neck, everything.
Everything was brown. So what are your thoughts? What are you thinking right now? What's your thinking?
I don't know. It's a good one. That's a good one. I mean, it's just get out type stuff that they're really black people, or maybe they're white people you know what?
What?
I am stupid.
What?
Because I just thought about it.
What is it?
Like, remember his friend that was inside the house, the doctor, that were kidnapping black people and taking their body parts, cutting them up. Could they have been using their body parts for other people, for white people? Like, this is like the black market, except they're using like limbs.
Oh, that's probably why one of the figures, and when Ruby the ghost had like a baby head, it was like all disfigured and stuff like that.
Right. So not just taking out like hearts, lungs. Yeah. They're taking actual body parts from black people.
Yeah. I mean, that's a possibility. Honestly, when the episode first started and we realized that was Ruby, the white lady was Ruby, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like Get Out. Then I'm like, wait, no, Get Out, it's opposite. It's not a black person, a white person's body. It's a white person, a black person's body. But I'm like, I still got the Get Out vibes. And I do believe Jordan Peele is like an executive producer on this show. So we're definitely probably going to see some vibes, something that reminds us of that. And yeah, you're probably right. They probably did something with the black people, and that's why it looks that way.
That's why they were kidnapping them, bringing them to the little scientist, doctor, or whatever, because it was kind of weird that he was, cutting black people up and putting their body parts on other black people,
right?
Or trying to fix people. I mean, I know he may have been experimenting that way with them, but I really think that they were using the body parts for, let's say, a white person is about to lose an arm, or any kind of limb. That's what they were using it for. That's why they were kidnapping them.
And the police officer also mentioned something about Christina. He's like, yeah, Christina thinks this. So like, they definitely do not like Christina. And I'm thinking that's why when William said Christina will meet you there, is because they can't even have the chance of William being caught there, because William's supposed to be dead.
Right.
So he probably had to wait until, and that's why he was late. That's why she was late when Ruby is like, you're an hour late. William's probably like, I had to wait till I transformed.
Yeah, for
my
real.
transformation wore off. So,
all right, well, let's put it like this, or look at a different scenario.
Mm-hmm.
That William can't show his face there, but he showed his face at the other lodge. So, do you think they don't know?
Oh, what the other lodge? Oh yeah, you're right. Maybe they don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. That was so far away. So maybe he's able to
lodges, or maybe it was a different group, because we see they called this group the Order, and we see that the police chief was over the other lodge, which means that he was already a Mason. He probably just wasn't a part of the Order.
Right. That part I don't know. I still get confused on like the mix up. I need a little graph to show me. Okay, this is the Order. These are the Sons of Adams. These are this. I don't know all those yet. All right, so Tic has a nightmare that he was burned in the lodge, and then him and Letty discuss the symbols, and they're trying to decipher the language. And Tic tells Letty that Montrose did kill Yahima. He didn't let her go. And Letty was like, this is evil. We shouldn't be doing this. Like, this is making you guys evil. It's bringing out evil in us. And Tic says it's about how we use it. It's not evil. It's about how we use it that makes it good or evil.
Letty is right. A lot of evil stuff has happened. We seen his father go crazy in the house. Remember, he was drinking wine, crying, sweating hard. He was going crazy before he burned the book. And then you see him almost kill his father. So it's bringing a lot of negative energy out of all of them.
Yeah, she might be right. I mean, later on, I don't want to talk about it now, but later on when he's on the phone, or when he deciphers and makes that phone call and the paper says die, it's because maybe it is evil.
Well, it was an abbreviation of something, because it was a D.I.E. So, I mean, I don't know what that stands for. I mean,
D.I.E.
Yeah, if it was just no. I mean, that if it was just the letters, without the dots in the middle, the periods in the middle, I would think that it's the word die, which it was the word die.
Right.
But since it was like that, I'm thinking that it stands for something.
Okay. Well, back on the south side, everyone's dancing. Like you said, they were starting to dance with the black men. And Ruby's like, fuck this. And she lets her portion, she crushes it up and lets her transform back to herself in the parking lot or something.
Right. And not only were they dancing with them, you saw when they came in, they were kind of giving the black guys the eye, looking at them by the little jukebox, and kind of looking like, you could tell that they were tempted.
They want to hook up with him, and then later on, if they get caught, they'll cry rape or some shit. That's what they would do. That's exactly what they would do. But, she secretly sees, while she's out there transforming, she sees that the manager tried to hit on Tamara and actually kind of assault her, and Tamara runs away, has to push him off and runs away, and then he calls her a nigger bitch.
The combination. Mm-hmm. Not a nigger, not a bitch. A nigger bitch. But hit her with the combo. Hit her with the 2-piece on this one. This is going to hurt extra hard.
I turned around and said, yo, mama. Well, at the event that Montrose was getting ready with Sammy earlier, with him and his friends, they're now there at the event, and we finally see Montrose start to loosen up. I mean, he did just get his ass whipped. I mean, he still has the bruises to prove it, so I can understand that he's not in the, the dancing mood, but he finally starts to dance, and after dancing, he finally goes up and kisses Sammy, and it's finally their first time kissing. Even though they've been hooking up, they've never kissed before, so that was big for him, and I think we'll see Montrose differently in the next few episodes. He'll be open.
Yeah, he'd probably be more open, or he'd be more affectionate, because it seems like if people already knew their business, it seems like he's already a little open.
Right. All right, so we're getting into the thick of things. We're almost at the end here. We see Christina and Ruby, and they're talking, and she says William wasn't just offering you the chance to be white. He was offering you magic, which gives you the power to do whatever the fuck you want to do. And on that note, White Ruby reappears. She goes to work. She seduces Paul, the manager, and I mean, it was gruesome. She sodomizes him with her heel.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And reveals her true face and says, "You know what? I wanted you to know that a nigger bitch did this to you." So you had some comments on this scene. You're like, you wanted something different.
I was disappointed with it. Like, if you had the opportunity to do whatever you wanted to do, use that opportunity to sodomize him and just to embarrass him in that moment, then just ruin his life. I mean, I would have took it further and just ruined his fucking life with it.
Like how?
I don't know, but it could have been done so much better. I think at this point they were just ready for this to be over. They was like, you know what, last scene, let's just do this. Because there was so much more that she could have done with it, but she used that last opportunity to see him one last time to really do stuff to him that's going to heal.
See, the thing is, I actually enjoyed. I really enjoyed the scenes with her at the department store and everything there. Yeah. I was feeling that. I really liked it. And I don't know. I thought we were gonna stay at the department store.
Right. I thought she was gonna stick it out a little longer. Like I said, I think they were just ready for it to be over with, and said, "Hey, let's just end it right here with her doing this." And like I said, with me, I don't want to do something to somebody that's done something so heinous, like he tried to rape a girl.
Yeah.
So I don't want to just give him a short term fix to it.
I don't think what she did was a short-term fix. I mean, that could have lifelong, not just mentally, but physically lifelong repercussions of what she did to him. That was pretty fucking sick there. And she could still come back to work again, because what is he going to do? What is he going to say? That, no, she's really black? Like, no one's going to believe it. You know what I mean?
You're crazy.
Although she did leave her shedded skin there, so I don't know. When she did that, I was like, dang, she keeps leaving evidence everywhere. Evidence here. Like, aren't people finding this shedded skin and be like, what the fuck is this?
Crime scene.
Yeah. So I don't know. But at the same time, people be like, I don't know what the fuck that is. Or if he tells people, they might be like, you're crazy, you killed her. You killed this lady, Ruby, the White Ruby. They might believe that. So he might just have to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, her DNA is in his office.
Yep. Well, Tic and Letti, they kind of discuss their relationship, and in the end, they say, hey, I have real feelings for you, and I'm not going to run away, and this is special, and they're like, they've made it official, their relationship.
Yeah, they made it official. I would like for it to be a little more realistic, though.
What?
Like in normal relationships just happen. We ain't talking about it. We just hang out a couple of times, and next thing you know, you just my girl. Hello, we done hung out 3 times already. You my girl now.
No, I definitely think conversations can be taking place. I think conversations do take place.
That's just a weird conversation. What are we? What you mean? And, we'll actually had the most awkward moment. They asked you why you're laying in bed together.
That's the perfect time to ask.
Why you just doing, why fun is in the air, why you doing something together?
This is the perfect time to ask.
Why you just on a romantic date? I mean, they do it when you do a relationship shit. They say, what are we?
All right. Well, let's real quickly go back to Ruby, and then we'll end it with Tic. And that is, Ruby confronts William about why him and Christina are the only ones allowed in the basement, and that's the only door that's locked in their house. And that's when he transforms back into Christine. So there is no William. I mean, there might have been a William at one point, but at this time, there's no more William. There's only Christine.
Right.
She's been playing
and
both
I
parts.
Hope we find out who William was.
Yeah. So I'm interested.
Well, we already know who he is, who he was.
Yeah.
That was his lodge. He was killed. But who was he to Christina? Because I think that this whole plan was put in motion just for this right here. Because this lodge right here really don't mean anything if they're not in the order.
Yeah, like I said,
remember, she wanted to be a part of the bigger situation. So why backtrack and go to this smaller lodge that's not even a part of the bigger picture?
Well, maybe because she's already here in this city to get the Hiram's orography or whatever. So she's like, might as well kill two birds, one stone. But I don't know. Honestly, I'm still confused at the whole lodge situation. Like, I definitely need a graph on what all that means.
Well, you already know that they were over a lodge, but they weren't a part of the order.
Yeah, but are we saying a lodge is actually like a lodge is like a place?
Yeah, that's like a
like
an organization, like a like I said, they're Masons. They could be Masons.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, they are Masons. So they have a lodge right here.
Yes, and they're not saying a lodge is like the actual place, like the actual building.
That they're
over.
Like the honeycomb hideout. That's their organization. That's where things happen. It's not only because a lodge could be any place where that group of people is at. Like, when they say, oh, we're part of Lodge 271. They don't have to be inside that building to be Lodge 271.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it could be double meanings, triple meanings, because Lodge is that place, but it's not only that place, it's them, that group of people, that club. It's like a club.
Right. All right. Well, final scene is Tic deciphers more words, and he starts freaking the fuck out. And I have some thoughts on this. He calls Korea, speaks with the ex-girlfriend, and he's like, how did you know? Or he said, did you know? And she says, I told you, you should have listened to me. You should have never went back home. And he hangs up with her. And then we look, and that's when the paperhead said the DII.
No, I said the
DIE.
Not a briefcase, the acronym.
But I feel like this could have been about his Uncle George. Maybe she told him your uncle. Maybe she told him something about his uncle was gonna die or something. I don't know. But the fact that he was so sad and he was like, did you know? And he was crying. It makes me think that she might have said, if you go home, your uncle will die, or I don't know.
No, I think those were acronyms. Like, remember on the back of his ring was his initials.
Yeah.
Or it could have been initials.
Yeah, he said it was his initials. So
no, I'm saying the DIE could have been initials.
The Uncle George's initials?
No. Somebody else's initials. Somebody we don't know or we haven't heard from yet.
Okay.
But like I said, it wasn't the word die spelled out. It was more like a...
Yeah, I know what you... D.I.E.
Right.
Okay. Well, for some reason when that happened, when I watched it the second time, I was like, dang, he was so sad and he was trembling. And he was like, he could barely talk when he even called the number. And, I mean, clearly she knows something, and that's where we're going to get next week, or this week, Sunday. So,
Yes.
I'm excited, you guys. We would definitely love to hear from you, hear your feedback and what you're thinking of the show. So be sure to hit us up, host@theverdictsin.com. That's HOST @theverdictsin, and we will discuss your feedback on the podcast. And we have an email today from Tiffany. So, hey, Tiff. She has been listening with us since I believe our Walking Dead days. So, good to hear from you. So she goes, so this episode was such a mindfuck. I had to write in, even if I missed the deadline, so be it. Nope, we are late, so you are perfect. All right, she wrote, I knew when we saw the white woman at the opening that he had used magic on Ruby, but I was convinced it was to get to Letty, but now I'm not so sure. What a crazy way to entice Ruby, huh? To be a white woman and have access to all the things you've ever wanted to try, and to be treated the way anyone wants to be treated, like a human. And to think today we're dealing with Rachel Dolezal and the latest lady, heavy Negro sigh. Yeah, like when we first saw him hook up with Ruby, we thought the same thing, that he was trying to get close to Letty, and maybe in some ways he is, or in some way Christina is doing that, but William does love does like Ruby. I don't know. It's weird. Like, I'm still gonna see them sort of as two different people.
It's still to get what they want. I think that they still want to get inside the house to get the what's Hiram Globe or Hiram, whatever it is. And if you could offer, I guess, her whatever she want, maybe she could just walk in and get it for you.
Yeah, but I do feel like later on when Christine was talking to Ruby, and she's like, do you really care for him? Which makes me think that maybe there are some true feelings going on with her and Ruby.
No. I think she was just playing her. In order to get her to do what she want, she had to say that. Do you really care for him outside of that? Well, she probably does have feelings for him. They sleeping together.
Yeah, so maybe what I'm saying is Christine/William does also have feelings for Ruby.
Negative.
Okay. She continues. The graphics of her transformation back to Ruby was amazing. They working on some Walking Dead type levels going on here. Greg Nicotero, you out there? Yeah, that was crazy. That I didn't know what was going on. I appreciate the fact that she wasn't the white woman all day. Basically, it wore off after a few hours because I'm pretty sure the Hillary Davenport was the lady with the dogs back in episode 2. But I could be wrong. Nope, you're right.
Yeah, it was her.
Her pinched mouth makes me uncomfortable. And the way she was acting toward Tamara, the black employee, was really getting under my skin. I semi-watched it again, and I realized that she was trying to be helpful, but in the form of white woman, it was very menacing. And isn't that how it is done now? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when she was saying, she's like, we got to be better, because she forgot who she was. She's like, you got to be better than them. You got to do this. Or next thing you know, you're going to end up in a fucking closet. She's like, she's realizing, like, this is the shit that we go through. And she was like, she was projecting a lot of her stuff onto Tamara.
Yeah.
Weaponizing tears and advice. Yep. But Ruby was also talking shit a few episodes back about how black folks need to be more hardworking and their plight would be better. So already had some internalized issues.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
She did say that.
And it's a thing that even still today happens when you sometimes hear not even just black people that make it, but just some black people that are just in a comfortable spot. They feel as if, not all of them, of course, but they feel as if like, well, the reason why I'm where I am is because I worked hard and I did all the things proper. And y'all over here just sitting around not doing shit or whatever. And it's that mentality that you are learning from your oppressors, from these colonizers that have made you feel this way. Because there's people that want to go and party and hang out that are white and no one looks at them like anything. And then if a black person does it or a brown person does it, it's looked at like not following the proper steps to get to where you need to get to. Or I can't really explain it, but I feel what you're saying. And I think that's where Ruby was. She kind of felt like she's going to get to where she's going to get to because she's doing all the things the right way. And it's like,
so she thought.
And it's like, Ruby, you can do the things, you can take all the right steps. You can do all the things, quote unquote, the right way and still not be successful and still not be where you think you would want to be.
Take all the steps to better yourself.
Gary's not going to let me live that down.
You know I'm joking with you.
But
it's not you. It's not just you that say that. A lot of people say that. Like, oh, if this person do that, they could better themselves by doing this.
Yeah.
So it's a saying that I was never too fond of.
Yeah. No, I get it. I don't like the saying everything happens for a reason. I hate that saying. Yeah. So like, if some people are like, there's a lot of different shit that's happened. They're like, well, look it. See, this happened now. Everything happens for a reason. And I'm like, okay, yes, just come in a good spot now. Doesn't mean I want all that other horrible shit to have happened because it's finally led me to this spot. Like, no, I hate that saying. So I get what you're saying. All right. She continues here. Still not sure why they insisted on taking them to the black side of town. But I suspect it had to do with some internalized looking at black people from other people's eyes type of thing. What are your thoughts on that?
I think William said it perfectly. He said, we want to be you. You guys want to be us.
Right.
And someone else said it before. It said they love our culture, but don't love us.
Oh, they love our culture, but don't love us. They'll wear the braids, the cornrows, they'll do everything that's black, that's related to black culture, black history. They pump their lips. They'll do the lip line. They'll do anything, Bantu knots, anything that we do, they will do on themselves, and it's acceptable and it's cool. They don't even want us to do it on ourselves.
But vice versa, the same thing with us. There's a lot of us that, do things to ourselves to look more European.
Yes, that is true.
Well, I'm sorry, them.
Yeah.
That person.
Yeah, although like I did see something the other day and someone was like, I think a black girl had blonde hair and they're like, y'all always trying to look white with blonde hair, and then someone was like, excuse me, and put in a picture, black people have blonde hair too. So I don't know I don't know what to say that part. Yeah, in some way it does feel like there's a lot of people that like to mimic our culture and everything like that.
You gotta say it in both ways. I mean, it's in front of your face. There's black people that try to look more European, and there's European people that's just raping the black culture.
Yeah. Okay, well, with that being said, like, I was just thinking, because we have two children who are both into anime and stuff like that, and we'll go to conventions, and the last one we went to, I was like, wait a minute, they're always talking about culture appropriation with black people, but is this not culture appropriation? Like getting the Pocky sticks and getting the food and like getting the whatever, wearing the anime costume, like,
hey, we everywhere, baby.
So I'm very
everywhere.
hesitant to like talk about other people with culture appropriation or wearing our stuff and stuff like that, because can it just be culture appreciation for a lot of stuff?
It is.
It
is appreciation for a lot of stuff. But what I'm saying is that a lot of people love the other person's culture, and so when you talk about, they're loving our culture, and try to, like you said, the cornrows, the this, the that, to try to get that appearance, the fake butt, everything.
Yeah.
But it goes both ways.
Yeah, and that's, I think, where we talk about it from a culture appropriation stance, is that the same people that are doing it, they love our culture but seem to hate us. And it's not just with black people. I mean, I'm from San Diego, where Mexican food is the standard. You live and die by Mexican food. But people don't want to live around Mexicans. They talk about them so bad and this and that, and it's like, hold on. Every city in here is called like something after a Spanish name. It's all the cities and street names. They're all like Spanish type names. The architecture is Spanish type names. And it's like you are feeding all into this Spanish culture, but don't want to be around Latino people.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's not just with black people. And that's my thing. If you're going to have appreciation for the culture, when I was just talking about anime and Japanese stuff like that, you got to appreciate the people too. And I feel like maybe that doesn't get that much hate, because not no one, but most people aren't like, oh, I love anime this and love anime that, and then talking shit about Japanese. Like, I don't want to say it doesn't happen. I'm pretty sure it does, but for most parts, those people that are appreciating that, they appreciate all of it, Right. So it happens a lot, not just to black people, but
it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
Because you may not hear people talking shit about Japanese, but you do hear some disrespectful stuff when it comes to them. Like somebody coming up to them and asking them what part of China they're from.
Yeah.
That's disrespectful.
or just kind of like grouping all Asians in together or whatever, So yeah.
So it happens. It happens with all cultures, and yeah, we all have appreciation for the other culture, but there's a lot of people, and I mean, me and you, we have appreciation for everybody.
Right.
We like to go everywhere. We appreciate the people as well as their culture, but a lot of people are not like that. A lot of people, like you said, that when we're out in California, or you're from California, every street name, everything about California is Spaniard.
Mm-hmm.
It's Spanish. They
want to build the wall there and all this other bullshit.
It's all that bullshit to go with it. Like, you love the food. Like, oh man, the food is incredible.
And they want authentic. Oh, I want authentic food.
Yeah, I don't want this Taco Bell.
Right.
I want this. What's it, Del Taco? I want to go to a taco shop.
Yeah.
Get the authentic. And and they're very respectful to the people.
Yep.
That's making that food. Not actually preparing it right there, but I'm saying the people that brought that food to you.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
All right, so those are our thoughts on that, and then hold on, Tiffany has a little bit more.
Forgot the question. We went
I know
on a rant.
we went on a rant.
Went on an hour rant.
Tiffany's like, they didn't answer my question. Okay, so just to go back, her question was, I suspect that had something to do, or had to do with some internalized looking at black people from other people's eyes, that type of thing. What are your thoughts on that? So I think we did answer it there.
We kind of sort of answered it.
We just kind of went off on a tangent after that. Okay, she goes, I wonder if she's going to continue to go back and forth between the two roles to exact her own revenge. Ooh, I love a good revenge story. Even though some things are too sick, even if a person quote unquote deserves it or not, I don't know. Like what she did to Paul was just sick. I don't know if I can get down behind that.
It was sick, but it just wasn't good enough for me.
Okay.
Like, I think she could have done a lot better.
Yeah, like I would rather have like mental.
Yeah, well, that's gonna be mental.
Well, yeah,
but
yeah.
I'd rather have like
mental,
not only
financial,
mental, but financial.
Yeah.
Career wise, everything.
Because he's gonna have to go to the doctor. He can't even just go home and just like heal. He's gonna have to go to the doctor for that. He's probably gonna blame. I hope he doesn't blame. I hope it doesn't backfire. He blames it on like two black men or something. You know what they do.
You know what they do.
That's what they do. It's always like a black man, 6'2" or something.
I was outside Chicago just dancing.
Right. Must have been one of those black men when I was on the south side of Chicago who followed me to my work. All right. Yeah, would she do revenge like she did against the manager? That was crazy. This show is not afraid to show some damn graphic violence, that's for sure. Which I guess leads me to that damn ass Montrose.
Y'all said the same thing while we were watching.
He did. Yeah, that was crazy. Okay, so after last week, that was just so shocking to me. For him just to kill Yahima after she had already been brutalized by the sons of Adam fucks under the guise of exploration. It made me mad and also made me sick to my stomach. I wasn't ready to deal with him this episode, and so when Tic beat him up and he had to walk around with the physical reminder of what he'd done, I wasn't mad.
Not at all.
Yeah, but then he went and brutalized Sammy with rough sex. I know, it was almost like, is this sex? Is this rape? What is this? That scene was confusing. That's why I was like, it was so different from the hookup that Tic and Letti had. I don't know, that scene was confusing to me. I was still angry at him. I felt so bad for both of them. This man just wants to love Montrose fully, and Montrose can't let him and probably doesn't know how. My Libra heart. I love the scene at the ball, seeing that there was a way for the LGBTQ, sorry if that's wrong. No, I think LGBTQ is correct. Found a way to still be themselves was beautiful, and who can appreciate black excellence and fabulousness on a Sunday evening in 2020? Yeah, I love that they have like a place like to go and be free, and like they having a good time. Like they seem like fun friends. Like they're having except for everyone knew too much of their business because they're like, "Are y'all still finally together?" And they're like, "Man, they haven't even bumped lips yet." And I'm like, "Damn, how y'all know all their business? How they
talking?
That they hooked up but they haven't kissed or whatever."
People talk.
Yeah. Seeing Montrose realize that the only thing denying his existence is himself at this moment was just wild to see.
Well, we already know that he's emotionless,
yeah.
Or he was. Well, you could tell during the show where he's killing people, like he just killed her. He had no. Well, he felt bad about it when they came in, but he wouldn't have did it in the first place. And remember when they rescued him? He like, what are you doing out here?
Yeah, y'all don't have to rescue me. I was rescuing myself.
Myself.
He doesn't know how to love. He doesn't know how to show appreciation or anything like that.
And we find out he wasn't shown love.
Mm-hmm. It's the cycle, the generation of abuse that just keeps going, and hopefully Tic is gonna break that. It looks like he is. Also, Tic and Letty's sex scenes be so hot. I wish they would do it on an actual bed. But if she likes getting slammed up against stuff, I love it, honey. His plea to her to not be afraid of him, my heart. I know.
Oh, you fell for it too, huh?
Isn't that all black men are asking of America? Isn't that what all black men are asking of Americans right now? Isn't that what all black people are asking from society at large? Stop being afraid of me, my skin, my accomplishments, my potential, my swag, my fearlessness, my accomplishments. Damn, Tiffany, tell us. Yes, 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 yes. That almost made me cry. Yes, that's all we're saying. Stop being fucking afraid of our failures, our accomplishments, everything. Stop just being afraid. You're so weird. Shut up, Gary. All right.
I'm gonna make you cry.
All right.
Well, yeah.
This is a good letter. She got more. I guess that's really it. I called this episode a mindfuck because of the wild swings of emotion throughout. I've been really thinking a lot about Ruby, particularly being a black woman working in a white world, and I definitely see the double standard. It's hard to ignore. It's easy to say I'm not the one, but when the world's currency is whiteness, having that card in your pocket is a hell of a drug. I'm going to stick with not going that route, but I can't judge, and I could never say never because I would think of the revenge I can exact on a few people as a white woman, and it would be sweet. But like Letty said, that's the poison, right? You end up poisoning yourself if you seek revenge.
Right.
Speaking of, I felt even more bad when she didn't realize till later that Montrose killed Yahima. I get so mad thinking about it. Also, did that cop have the torso of a black man, or was I deep in the wine cups? Could be both.
See, that's what I was saying. You are absolutely right. And I don't know why I didn't see it before when I was watching it.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm listening and supporting and cheering you two on. I didn't notice any Black History Easter eggs this week, but if you did, let me know. No, they just had the poem for it was an excerpt from Colored Girls, so that was good. That's at the beginning of the podcast. And then she wrote, hi, Chantel and Verdicts and Peeps, stay safe and wear a mask. Peace and power, bitches, Tiffany.
Thanks, Tiffany.
All right. Thank you, Tiffany. We appreciate it so much. And like we said, if you guys would like to be a part of the podcast, please hit us up, host@theverdictsin.com or on facebook.com/verdictsin or on Twitter @theverdictsin.
Yeah, if you have any rants of your own.
Yes, let us know. Or if you agree or disagree with anything we said, let us know. We don't mind if it was a disagreement,
Right.
especially if we were wrong about something. Let us know. So until then, I'm Nicole.
I'm Gary.
Bye.